Hi guys, welcome back to Yes You Pod.
The podcast where we put you back in community. My name is Emily.
And I'm Evie. And guys, I'm so sorry. I was just shook that it was really starting. But I'm
Sorry.
so happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with Emily for another week for our 15th episode. She's dying laughing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What an intro. What an intro.
Hi guys, wake up. If you guys are driving. Hi. Good morning. Or good afternoon. It's the first of the month.
Oh my. Hey. No, oh my gosh. I'm so excited to be here. We just had, of course, a podcast for the podcast. And it is again, I just said it, but it's our 15th episode.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's
our BB 15.
15 months old.
15 weeks.
15 weeks old. Dang, that's a small baby.
It's a little baby.
It still don't have eyes
Literally.
or bones. Do you
it
know
has
babies?
eyes.
No. So silly.
People are done with us. People are done with us today. I'm so sorry.
You
might be wondering what's wrong with us. A lot is wrong.
We're giggling now because we're gonna talk about grief.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. So, what is your childhood trauma?
My favorite question. No. But let's relate. We are literally covering a hard topic today. I think it's funny that we're so lighthearted right now because I feel like this is one of the stages that we were just discussing. There's like some, acceptance that has to come along with the sadness and everything else. But there is also a point in this grief process that we go through where it's like, come on, if you can't make fun of the situation that you go through, then that's kind of how we overcome stuff. But Emily, how are you? How was your week? What's going on? What's new?
Oh my gosh. My week? Crazy. I literally... I've been in school. I've been off of work. Thank the Lord. So I had a few days off to recuperate sleep because I'm getting up at 5 a.m. every day. I'm serious. I love school, but this is a little, I don't know, a little sketchy, a little bit of a scam.
A little ghetto.
But a little ghetto, low key. But it's good. I joined the yearbook team, and so I'm gonna be working.
Ooh,
and
I love that.
Yeah, I'm literally joining everything. I was gonna tell you earlier, but I joined the girls' basketball team. And
what? Are you serious?
I did.
Oh, so, just waiting to tell me, guys.
Yeah, I know. Because I was on Friday, we're gonna do like a whole info session, but at first I was so scared because I'm like 5 foot. I'm gonna get stompled on. Imagine you walk into your school's home game, in comes in a 5 foot midget ready to dunk on these people.
I can't.
There's absolutely no way. But then one of the girls who's sits next to me, she was like, oh, do you want to join? And I was like, yeah, but I'm literally 5 foot. And she was like, don't worry. And I look behind me, and another girl's on the basketball team. She's 4'10", so she's shorter than me.
Oh, period.
And you know what? We just have to stack. We're gonna be in a trench coat. She's gonna be on my shoulders, and we're gonna stack.
Can't with you.
And that's how we're gonna play basketball. But yeah, that's how my week has been. Really crazy. But what about you? How has your week been, Evilise?
So far it's okay. I'm just ready for it to be the end of the week because I'm going to New York and I can't wait. I can't wait to be recording videos, eating good food, and be with my friends, and I just can't wait for that.
The whole lifestyle blogger.
I just can't wait. But right now it's just getting through the week. I did start school, and like you said, a total scam. I have to record video responses for all of my assignments, and I really hate that. But I mean, I guess my sister-in-law was telling me, you do that anyways every day on
Yeah.
Instagram. So, I mean,
They
you're right.
knew.
They knew. And maybe it would just be fun for me to get out of my comfort zone and like talk in front of the
Yeah.
camera about school stuff.
Right. It'll help
But
you. Build you up.
yes.
Oh my gosh. That's so
Yeah.
exciting. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy for you getting back in school. I know you've wanted to do it for a while now. And you're pushing yourself. I know it's a lot of work, but I'm proud of you. So
Here we
you're gonna
are.
do amazing. But
Oh my
yeah,
god, thank
guys.
you.
We've made it to the 15th episode. It's been
We
a
did,
wild
we
ride.
did.
And I'm just so thankful for everyone who listens in and supports this podcast because we literally couldn't do it without you guys. You guys are inspiration, and really, we just love having these conversations where we get to talk to each other, but also talk to you guys because it helps us and it fuels us, and it's just having a great time. Like sometimes we giggle our butts off in the first 5 seconds of our
Right.
and and then we get a little deeper, like we're about to right now. But yeah, as we kind
Exactly.
of mentioned a bit earlier, this week's episode, we're gonna talk about grief and grudges. Uh, two very hand in hand, but they're very hard. So that's why we have to be hand in hand. You know, talk about this.
Yes. And just to go over just a few stages of the grief process. Someone had just mentioned this to me too, so I was like, perfect, because we were going to talk about this anyway. But the 5 stages of grief, according to Google, according to many sources, the first one being denial, anger, bargaining. It says depression, but like just let's say sadness and acceptance. One of the things that we're also talking about is how these steps don't have to be in order, but these are just stages that kind of we go through as we grieve certain things in our life, whether it be a person, a relationship, a situation, or even a season. Ugh. It's a spicy topic, but like, do you like? Well, I know for me, like, are you a person that holds grudges often, or do you feel like it comes and goes depending on situations?
100,000%, and it sucks because I mentioned this in the podcast before the podcast, but I if I'm not holding grudges for myself, I'm holding grudges for other people. Like I just think I hold a lot of things in, and it could be something very small someone said, and I will internalize it, and I will keep that with me because one thing that I learned a couple years ago, and it kind of stuck with me, is that you probably won't remember what a person said, but you'll remember how they made you feel, and that kind of sticks with me a lot. So
Right.
I hold everything that I feel in. So at some point, so it's very easy for me to hold grudges, and it could be someone had a rude tone with me at McDonald's or something, or something that a family member said, and I'll still stick with it. I don't know why. It's a very bad habit, but it happens, and it's very hard to let go. But yeah, I know you said you are, but explain more. Like, do you do it often? Like, you hold grudges a lot?
I think, like you said, it could be little things that we get stuck with, or kind of just happen on certain situations, whether it be like family little comments or things, and you just like remember that, and you're like, oh, like this person did this, like that's why they're like this, and we kind of have this unspoken feeling or assumption about someone,
Yeah.
um, due to like a grudge that maybe we haven't let go of yet. But I think, yeah, I can come and go depending on the situation. And like
Yeah.
you said, too, sometimes we hold grudges for people,
Yeah.
because we love them so much. And so we don't want them to feel like, we want them to feel supported but we also want to remind them like, hey, like this person kind of did you wrong, like,
Right.
and we could just hold a grudge for them. But yeah, I guess that would be for me. Just kind of like how it is.
Yeah. And that makes sense. I mean, I think, like we've kind of mentioned before, we're people that, even if you hurt us, hey, whoops. But if you hurt someone that we love or we're looking out for, it's game over. Like, I would literally go to war for people. And like, I sometimes say, not to like hype myself up, but I'm one of those friends, and I try to be the friend that I want. So I'm one of those friends that if you tell me someone like hurt you or someone did something to you, like I'm literally hunting them down. Like they're on my list, like for real. But um I was wondering too, do you believe in forgive and forget? I know like that's a very used saying, and just forgive and forget. Like it's very easy to say, but honestly easier said than done. Um and honestly, do you even believe in it?
Honestly, I at first, like when you hear that quote, when you hear that verse,
Yeah.
when you hear everything, um, it's easier said than done to be like, oh, um, I forgive, but I forgive and forget, forgive and forget. It's hard to forget if it's consistent.
Yeah.
Um, and it's hard to forgive when the hurt was so strong. Um, there's been situations in my life where have been people that, oh my goodness, like it may take work to forgive because it does take a lot of work to forgive. Like not
Yeah.
downplaying the forgiveness aspect at all. Like it takes for me like a lot of prayer, a lot of like separation, a lot of just counseling with other people, getting just talking it out. Um, so then I will never forget. Like that's just the end all be all. Like I won't forget what someone did to me. I won't forget how
Right.
the person made me feel. I feel like it makes me feel naive.
Yeah.
If I can, not that someone is naive for forgetting, not that we really forget, but we want to forgive like it's nothing. And
Right.
we have to be honest with ourselves and be like, okay, this was something that hurt me
Right.
and I just can't forget it. Like I won't forget the state of mind I was in. I don't want to romanticize a situation or a moment of grief,
Right.
just because I am trying to forget it and act like it didn't happen. When in reality, like it does still sting years
Yeah.
later, or like it might still hurt, and that comes with the grief process again, like the acceptance of it all, like how we're battling in the stage of sadness and what that process kind of looks like. um, do you believe in forgive and forget? And is there something that you feel like you've been grieving that you really can't let go of, or you still have yet to let go of?
Oh, I mean, with forgive and forget, I, like you said, I think if it's repetitive, I can't. I think, and I said it earlier, like past action predicts future character, um, and I think I've become such a skeptical person over time, just because one of my biggest pet peeves, and it never comes to mind whenever anyone asks you like, oh, like what's your biggest pet peeve, it's always like, oh, like when people like chew when they're eating or like chew loudly or whatever. But my biggest pet peeve is that, like, apologizing and not meaning it. Like, I really hate it when energy is not reciprocated. And as a person who apologizes, like when I apologize, I mean it, because it's hard for me to apologize. If I apologize, I mean it. Don't
Right.
apologize to me if you're not going to change. Like, that's the worst thing you
Well,
could ever
yeah.
do. And it sucks when you, and I was talking with my dad about it. It's so crazy I was talking about this. I was talking with my dad, like, I think, what day was it? 2 days ago? On Saturday. Um, I was coming home from work, I think, and we were talking about how, like, some people in our past, like to our family, they have hurt us. And it's
Right.
hard because my dad's a person, I kind of get it from him. My dad's a person that he, um, he's very forgiving, but he's like me. He's a fighter. Like, You give him a
Right.
reason and he'll protect people. He'll love people in that way, that he'll fight anybody, really anybody. He's down any day.
Hmm.
And I get that from him, but he's also a person that you can't tell him anything, because if you tell him, he's literally down for life. Like, it doesn't matter if you've forgiven that person, it's been 20 years, he'll still hold that. But that's just how he expresses his love. And we're talking about it, and I was telling him how in life you're gonna find people who you're gonna forgive and they're gonna forget. And it's hard
Right.
because you're over here stressing your mind over something that they did, or you're feeling like, wow, this person literally betrayed me. Like, how are they just showing their face? How are they just texting me? How are they living their life and not feeling guilty for what they did? And they're over there sleeping soundly, and they're having their life, and
Right.
they're living, what they want to do. um, and it sucks because you do have that in your heart, because it sticks with you. You still have marks on your heart, on your soul, of things that people did to you, and you can't just forget that. And so I think forgive and forget can exist. It's just a process. It's just very hard to do. And to answer the other question, is there something that I've been grieving for a long time that I can't let go of? Um, yes, more specifically, um, when I think about my childhood and
Right.
the things that I grew up with, and the things that I didn't grow up with, and the things that I feel like I missed out on. Um, like I said, it sticks with you. And the things that are in your mind where it's like, yeah, I did get saved from that, but I also missed out on that. And I was really talking to my mom this morning, and I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm so glad that I didn't have to experience like middle school in person,
Hmm.
because like middle schoolers are like,
Right.
they're very, you're in between. And to the middle school listeners out there, I pray for you guys all the time, because it's hard. Like, you guys are literally in between getting out of kidhood into teenagehood. um and it's hard because you're getting into your own body, and you're experiencing what it feels like to, you know have your own mindset, and be aware of how you look like, and you're going through puberty and stuff like
Right.
that. And so peer pressure is very hard. um and so I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm so glad I didn't experience that. But I'm also like, man, I kind of wish that I would have gotten more of a social life around that time. I feel like I would,
Hmm.
not that I think I'm boring, but because I got a lot of stuff going on upstairs, that it's like I can't be bored. But I do wish that I had, some of the more child experience of, like, uh middle school, and like having a middle school boyfriend, and all that stuff.
Right.
Which, according to the Bible and God, I am not. I
Right.
have never experienced that. Thank you. But yeah, I think that's the big thing that it's hard for me to let go of, is that, like, I think that a lot of what I wanted to experience, I can't anymore. And it's hard because I do grieve that. And it's not just
Right.
boys and friendships and stuff like that. It's literally my mind. It's not being able to develop at a normal pace, which it's kind of fun now because I'm older and I get to reap the benefits, but I'm also reaping the thorns of it, which is I I always feel like I'm standing out in a room no matter where I go.
Hmm.
And it's always this like outsider mentality that I have to, it does stick with you. And that's the bad part of grief. You can go through all 5 stages, but something sticks with you. Um, and it sucks. And I'm kind of accepting it now, but it's still hard because it's like, oh, like I wanna have that back. Like, I wanna have those moments that I never got to experience. But yeah, what about you? Is there something that, I know we've talked about it, but is there something you've been grieving for a while and you still feel like it won't let go of you, or you can't let go of it?
Definitely. Just to piggyback off what you just said, or just to like respond, because you snapped with the childhood, snapped with everything. But this is literally your time right now that you are back in school, kind of just to have that moment of, oh, I didn't miss out. Even though the years that those those years of like middle school and all those little childhood moments, um, like in school, like those are big. I think those are the years that I remember the most prominent in school, because it's again like you're developing yourself,
Right.
but like you had to process like that time differently, and also now you're back in school,
Yeah.
like you're back in that kind of setting again, so it is crazy and it is full circle for you. So girl, literally grab that moment and take it.
Mm.
um it's just so crazy because you're literally back. So I'm like, wow, that must
Mm.
be so crazy for you to like to go and go through life without experiencing it, and then now you have the opportunity to do that. So I think that's awesome. Even though you have those feelings of maybe grief, um, for those moments, like right now, it's like your moment to take it back. So I definitely love that for you.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, for me, I think I do. I am currently grieving a few things.
Mm.
Um, let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I've been grieving people.
Mhm.
I grieve people that I feel like have made impact that aren't in my life anymore.
Mm.
Um, and it sucks because, and we talk about this all the time because it's a part of every topic. It's in topic of boundaries, of sisterhood, of FOMO. It's in every topic. But when we have people in our lives that mark us so heavily, maybe we don't want to let them go. And I know for me, like it's hard
Yeah.
for me to let people go, and it's hard to grieve people that are still living. And
Right.
I feel like I've done that,
Oh.
or I'm trying to do that right now, and it's sucky
Yeah.
because I love so hard, like super hard. And if anyone has ever been there for me, and the term laid down their life for me, and I've done the same, then it is hard for me to let them go as friends, or as sisters or mentors, whatever that may be. Um, I think that I'm grieving a person right now, that I care about so much.
Mm.
Um, so it is hard, but I'm trying to get to that acceptance stage, but there's still other stages that keep popping up, like anger or denial, um, and all these things. But I think in this process of grieving, and the grudges are held in that same relationship, because I feel like I don't want to hold on to hurt,
Yeah.
and I don't want to hold on to what didn't happen or what could have happened. Like, so no, I don't want to do that. But yeah, definitely that's still in there, and I just I just want to get to the last stage already.
Yeah.
And it is hard. But yeah, I think I've been grieving this friendship for a long time. But my prayer is that the like I feel satisfied with the season, that, and I do, but it's hard to remind yourself that
Right.
you're satisfied with the season that the person served you in, or
Right.
the role that they played in your life at the time. Um, I think that's really it for me right now. I'm also grieving, just like the loss of like familiarity,
Yeah.
of like going into something new. And if you know, you know. But there's a transitioning happening right now in my life, and in the lives of many people that we know. And it's a scary thing, but it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I think just grieving a season or grieving a place, um, it is hard, but not impossible. And I think
Right.
again comes anger, comes bitterness, comes questions, but it's not serving us a purpose to hold on to the grudge much longer. But it does take a while to heal and accept that. And that's
Right.
pretty much where I am right now. I think the stage of grief that I'm in right now would kind of be, if I'm going back to like those stages, it's between like bargaining with God. Because one of the stages is bargaining. So I'm like bargaining with God, like, okay,
Yeah.
God, like, I don't know if I want to let this go or like how long, much longer do I have to keep holding on to
Yeah.
this? I'm now in my stage of grief right now. Um, before I get to like the acceptance part, but
Right.
yeah, that would be it for me. Do you feel like you've reached a stage right now in your grief process of where you are, whether it be denial, anger, bargaining, sadness, or just overall acceptance at this point?
I think I'm transitioning out of sadness into acceptance. Like you mentioned, like I am reliving the things that I couldn't before. Um and you're also like you hit it on the nail, like that familiarity, like that consistency. I think we all grieve at some point that consistency in our lives where it's just though we want more and we ask God like give us more, like it's easy to ask to, want more and forgot to change things in our lives, but in reality a lot of us just want to stay the same. We just want to feel different. Um
Right,
our situations get really comfortable, and though we complain about them or we say like this isn't working, like it is something that it sticks with us. And I think the most, and I didn't really mention this much, but I think the most that I am grieving is the fact that I didn't get to grieve, is those
mm,
moments where I wasn't allowed to grieve, or it wasn't okay for me to grieve, or it would have drawn more attention to myself. um and I think right now it's that, like, again, it sticks with you. And we mentioned in the very beginning, like, it's not just a linear progress. Like, I can
right,
feel acceptance one moment and it's like it's okay, like God is healing me and God is giving me opportunities. And then I remember that one thing that happened, August 12th of 2011, and I'm like, wow, like that was not okay. I'm very upset about that. Like,
right,
someone should have stood up for her, me, someone should
mm,
have stepped in for
yeah,
me, and things like that, where it's like, I, it's still that, inner child that's crying. Um, and we'll
right,
talk more about that in another episode. But it's honestly grief, not even from you now, it's grief from you then that you still carry on with you. Um,
yeah,
and the grudge is grief, I guess. And
yeah,
you still hold that with you. And it sucks because you want to forgive, you want to move on, and you want to accept and, pass through all these stages, but there's always going to be a reminder, and it sucks. But I think that's why um, God is so intent in reminding me, honestly, in this season that, you don't have to heal in order to, love. And you don't even have to forgive in order to love people. Um, because forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for you. And
exactly.
letting go is for you. And it can be hard to do things. It can be hard to do good things for ourselves, like fun things for ourselves.
Right,
Imagine trying to let go of trauma that you've held in for so long. Obviously, it's hard, and obviously, it
yeah,
hurts. But I think that's why it's called, there's stages to it, and that's why you should never go through it
right,
alone. um, but I think this, quick little episode was just a reminder that it's okay to go through your processes, and whatever you're going through right now, it may seem eternal and it may seem that you're never going to get rid of it, whether it's family trauma, whether it's a new relationship that ended, whether it's an old relationship that ended, romantic, platonic, whatever it is. um, just know that God calls us to love even when it hurts, even when you feel like they don't deserve it. It can be hard, but it is important to do so. And that kind of ties in to what I was going to say, but how do we help each other let go? And I think that's the biggest question of the night. Um,
right.
what is your advice, and how can we this week help each other let go, help each other through grief, the grief that we sometimes don't even talk about?
I think it's just doing what we just did, but more intensely, just being very vulnerable with each other.
Yeah.
I think that one of the biggest things we lack as a generation in general is vulnerability. And I think even today, even this episode, like we don't like to get too vulnerable because we're scared
Yeah.
of maybe what people think. Um, but when it comes to like whoever you're comfortable with, whether that be your best friend, whether that be your counselor or your mentor or whoever you go to, like, or maybe it's the person that did you wrong, like that you
Yeah.
are holding this grudge with, like just being completely honest and being like, I can't hold this anymore. Like,
Right.
letting go first, like you need to let go of your emotions, like let it out.
Yeah.
That's the first step. I think once you're able to vocalize how you feel, even if it's not with the person at first, because again, stages,
Right.
um, it is a good place to start. Just letting it out in general, and then from there, building it up, and maybe building that courage to be vulnerable, and just to talk about like, hey, I am sad. Hey, this does upset me. You know,
Yeah.
hey, I am going through this. I think my that would be my advice at first, just to let it out so that you can eventually let go of the grief that you're holding or the grudge that you're holding on to.
No, that's good. And that's exactly what I would say. I think share it with others. Don't feel like you have to, and I say that almost every episode, but share with others. This is why we have spaces like these to be able to not go things alone because that's hard. That's one of the hardest things you have to go through in life is grieving and holding things in. But understanding that even if you don't let go of them right after this episode and you are revived and healed, it is a process.
Right.
But we're here for you, and that's why you have spaces like this. And so, with that being said, this is where we conclude. Short, little, cute little episode. Just a little breather for the rest of the week. Just a little recharge. But oh my gosh, we love you guys so much.
We love you
Make
so
sure
much.
to check out all our Yes You Pod socials: Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and everywhere else you get your podcasts.
Yeah, you hit them all.
Yeah, and then just go on social media, just type in Yes You Pod, and then follow whatever you see. But yeah, we love you guys so much, and we hope you have
We
an
love you so
amazing,
much.
super duper amazing week. Feel recharged and feel revived, and we love you guys so much. All right,
We'll
love
see you
y'all.
in the next episode.
See y'all next
Love
week.
y'all.
Love y'all. Bye.
Bye.